This
Whoa!
is from Michelle Vasquez, the zombie carry.
Yeah, they don't make zombie gear like this anymore.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, I haven't seen this in a long time.
One thing I will note is I can flick this out easily with my thumb and I can slow roll with the stud, but I cannot figure out the reverse flick. Actually,
No, you
I
just
guess
did
I
it.
can. Yeah, I just did it.
Well
That was the
done.
first time I've ever done it. Any movies or shows that sparked your love for EDC? Batman, James Bond,
Yeah.
John Wick,
No MacGyver? Really?
No, MacGyver's at the end. It's a
Oh,
popular
there. All
comment.
right, sorry.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Carry the Way, the weekly podcast where we nerd out about all things EDC gear and maybe try to teach you a thing or two while we're at it. I'm Bernard, the founder of everydaycarry.com, and I'm joined by our editor, Mikey.
Hey, what's up?
Good question. If you're into EDC stuff at all, by the way, be sure to give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. We upload weekly, so subscribing will make sure you don't miss our latest content. And let's just start off with a little meta announcement here. We've got a couple dozen podcasts under our belt by now, and we're trying to do things a little differently going forward. There's a new structure we want to test for the show to make sure we can yap about the new products coming out, answer questions the community has, and share our favorite EDC submissions with you in every episode. So as a heads up, we'll be eventually moving the Carry the Way podcast to its own YouTube channel. So if you're listening on YouTube, stay tuned for more details when we make that switch and how you can find us when we do that. So we'll give you the heads up. But we're going to try the new format. Today, we'll be discussing some newly released knives, flashlights, bags, and watches. Then answer some questions from the EDC community that may or may not be just memes. I'm not entirely sure. And then give some love to our readers who shared their EDCs with us. So be sure to stick around to the end and see their setups. But first, we're going to start with the usual pocket check. Mikey, why don't you start us off?
Sure. I'm trying a few new things this week. Wearing back regular watches again. I'm gonna get to this later in the show, but I'm trying out a couple of different zip wallets. These are from Waterfield out of San Francisco. They're most famously known for
They make like bags for gaming devices.
exactly.
No?
Their Switch
Yeah.
cases are the most popular one during the pandemic. So I'm trying out a couple of their zip wallets. I really like these like locking zippers, and
yeah, from what I remember, like they do like really high quality stuff.
yeah,
And they're not like tech fabrics from what I remember,
no,
which
it's a
is
lot of
kind of
heritage
unique,
stuff.
I think. Yeah, just because like for me, when I think SF soft goods, I think like technical bike messenger stuff.
Right.
Right. But
Yeah.
Waterfield, they're pretty
Yeah. So
classic
they're
stuff.
they're experimenting. They're just branching out a little bit from the heritage stuff. So this is like a ballistic nylon one, and it's a nice little container for the knife I'm carrying this week. So I have a
Ooh,
video
what's
coming
that
out for
guy?
this. This is the Wee Knife
Uh-huh.
Thug. So it's a little
Ooh,
chunkster compound grind,
yeah.
CPM 20CV titanium, really chunky
Titanium frame
knife.
lock.
Titanium frame lock. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And
Like
then
if you're gonna have a little chonker knife, it's got to be a titanium
of
frame lock,
course,
I
it's a
feel.
little heavy.
Yeah.
That's my only complaint. It's like the detent is ridiculous. It's really like a tank, and it's a little heavy. It's 4.4 ounces. So I'm trying it out, and the zip pouches give me a convenient way to carry without scratching it up. So yeah, pretty convenient there. And
Interesting.
lastly,
Okay.
we'll get to it. I've been carrying this for a few weeks already, but it just came out. We're going to be talking about it in the news. This is the Nitecore MT2C Pro. It's Nitecore going back to basics. This is literally just an 18650 light with two stages. That's it.
Right.
Just
I remember that guy.
simple,
Nice.
clicky, two modes, dead simple, standard battery, everything you love about the basic functionality of a flashlight. So yeah, that's it for me. What's up with you?
I have a bunch of stuff in rotation, but I don't know. Right now, I'm using
Mm,
like this is an old
that crinkly
Dyneema tote
stuff.
bag. Yeah, an old Dyneema tote bag from I think it's like a now defunct project.
Oh no.
This was I think New Form Studio. I believe that's what it's called. But in there, since it doesn't have any internal organization, I switched my pouch setup up
Ooh.
just because like the alpaca hub pouch is not big enough for all the stuff I
Yeah,
want.
yeah.
And like I have sunscreen. It's summer now, so I have like sunscreen in here and all that kind of stuff. So
Is
this
that
is an outlier. Um,
Dyneema also?
it's it's not Dyneema. I think they call it I forget, but it's some kind of either, I think it's nylon, but yeah, it's different, and it's got like this paracord pull. So I'm throwing that in there, so it's not full on Dyneema. And then you were mentioning you have a pouch to avoid scratches. I got new jeans, by the way, and now I want to carry um, like knives in my front pocket. But then like I forgot that like jeans have rivets.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
true.
and it's just so abrasive. So I like got this camera recently. I don't know if I showed it on the show, but
No, I don't think so.
the Ricoh GR3. This is just like a special edition version, just because I love my original one
Ooh,
so much.
nice.
And the 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 other versions of this camera, they're all black. So I wanted to make sure like I had a different color one that I can differentiate the
And it's
two.
like
But
it's a nice titanium looking color too, with a nice
yeah. Reminds me of like, the old like Fuji cameras or something,
yeah.
or like Leicas even,
Yeah.
instead of the all black stealthy setup. So been enjoying that. And then as far as knives in rotation, I was testing
Oh yeah.
the Civivi button lock utility. We can talk about that a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
This one, we'll talk about this in a second.
Ooh,
And
good stuff.
since the jeans I got are like black, I was like, oh, maybe I can get something with a
You
black
got
pocket clip.
you got denim or
Yeah, I
heavy
know, right?
denim.
Tech wear guy. Now I'm wearing 14 and a half ounce raw denim from Japan again. So it's like we're mixing some technical fabrics, some natural fabrics, and
Heritage
rotating a lot of
stuff,
gear.
new
So
stuff,
yep,
technical materials. Yeah, you get a nice balance of everything. I think. What's on
yeah. So
wrist
why
though?
don't what's on wrist?
Mm.
Well, I got the MRG uh
Mm-hmm.
B5000. Oh my gosh, I need to like double check what this is actually called. I think it's the MRG B5000. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Um
Full
yeah, so this
titanium, right?
is like, this is the titanium one that I got in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wearing it because we're going to talk about G-Shock later. So why don't we
It's all
load up
related.
some news? Yeah.
Got some
So
lore
I'm going to
going
pull
on
up.
with the stuff.
Yeah, so a couple of recent releases. If you don't know, by the way, we do send out newsletters, and we first of all, we have a website. This is like where all the stuff that Mikey writes, it goes on. It's not, we're not just a YouTube channel with the podcast. We have a website, everydaycarry.com, and Mikey puts together these news roundups every week and sends out newsletters. So if you guys want to keep up with what's coming out in the EDC world, that's a great resource. But if you would just rather listen to us tell you about it, that's what we're here to do too. So first up is the QSP Vault. You actually picked this out and put me onto it, but I just happen to enjoy it all the same. Do you want to give it an intro?
Yeah. So it's a new one from QSP.
Yes.
What's their most popular model? Would you say the
I like the penguin.
Penguin? Yeah, the Warncliffe one, right? They had a nice. They reached out to me a few weeks ago, and they're like, "Oh, we have a new Justin Lundquist design." I'm like, "Wow, that's Bernard's favorite, one of Bernard's favorite designers." And I'm like,
Jacob Lundquist.
Jacob
Yeah.
Lundquist, sorry.
So there are two. Justin Lundquist has been around for a little bit longer, I believe. And I like his work also. Like he did the Feist and all that, and did like a really elegant, organic looking stuff. Jacob Lundquist designed this, but
Yeah.
also designed the Kaiser Veritas, which I think is
Mm,
sick. And that was in my EDC video on this channel.
yeah.
They're both great designers, but this one is Jacob. Yeah.
And I'm really liking this trend now of like these designers really branching out to like across the brands, across the OEMs. So they're not just making their
Mm.
own custom stuff. They're also partnering up with like QSP, with Kaiser and all of these. And now everybody can get to own like their designs for a much more affordable price. I mean, you're not gonna be getting like ultra premium stuff, but I mean, look at it for $86, 14 C228N is very, very serviceable. You have a nice bolsterish type design. You got micarta on the back,
Yeah.
and it's like you just take one look at him, like that's a Lundquist design. And I'm like, when I saw this, you should send Bernard one. He's gonna
Yeah.
love this because one of our favorite
Yeah.
designers. Yeah.
So I'm probably gonna do just like a little TikTok on this knife, but I
Mm.
can show it on screen here. So this, I think importantly, we need to mention that this is QSP's first crossbar lock.
Oh, they're
They call
calling
it
it
glide lock.
the glide lock. That's right.
Yeah, and the actual studs for actuating the lock are these like pill-shaped roly-poly looking ass like studs right here, but it gives a lot of purchase. There's just a lot of great ergonomics in this knife. It's really comfortable. It's a little bit longer. I think it's like 4.25 inch handle or something, and
And it's
then
a full hand
or
grip.
maybe 4.5. Sorry, maybe 4.5 handle, and then 3.25 inch blade. But the
Mm,
ergos are really good, and then you can also choke up on this choil here, and
yeah.
the way the choil and this part of the blade, like it's just really comfortable. Um,
I also like this
and
type
then
of reversible clip where it's at the end and you can.
yes,
Yeah.
so it is a deep carry reversible pocket clip. And why is that important? Because it's um, completely ambidextrous in that way, right?
Yeah.
So
Plus, you're
we
not
talk about
breaking the
uh-huh.
design of the show side, whichever your show side
Sure.
is. Yeah.
Right. So we talk about ambidextrous knives, especially because of just the trend of this kind of crossbar lock, dual thumb stud, 3 to 3.5 inch ish blade trend, right?
Mm.
Um, but when we say ambidextrous, I've been called out in the comments a lot for calling knives that you can operate with your other with like left hand, right?
Mm.
And they're like, that's not truly ambidextrous because you have to operate it in a different way, or the performance or
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
just the overall experience isn't exactly the same. This one I think is actually truly
Yes.
ambidextrous.
Yeah.
One thing I will note though is I can flick this out easily with my thumb, and I can slow roll with the stud, but I cannot figure out the reverse flick. Oh, actually,
No, you
I
just
guess
did
I can.
it.
I just did it.
Well
That was the
done.
first time I've ever done it.
Well done.
Okay, so I guess this is like really fidgety in that way.
I can't reverse
Great.
flick
So
this thug. The detent on this is like
yeah,
insane. It is an I have to like even just like slow rolling it. It's just so heavy and chunky.
yeah,
So yeah, I like the
that
fidgety
was pretty
stuff as
funny.
well.
That was pretty funny because I was gonna like leave that as my one reservation for why this knife, is not like well, I don't know. It's quite good now. $86. What else can I speak to about this? The liners are a little bit skeletonized. There's like a couple holes punched out to save on weight. And then there is a stainless backspacer, and that looks really nice. But interestingly, the micarta handle, it goes into this like sort of bolster type situation, right? The bolster itself would I think would be too heavy as stainless steel. This is actually anodized aluminum that houses
Mm.
the glide lock.
That's a good decision,
So
I
I
think.
think, yeah, I think that was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
And then this is a newer QSP, so they use the triangle logo instead of the
I love
old
that logo.
weird logo, honestly,
The
on the
flame,
pivot. Yeah.
the Guy
And then
Fieri
it's
logo.
it's the guy, yeah, chef's kiss. And then it's signed with Jacob Lundquist Designs little arrow logo on the back, and it's got generous jimping on the top, and just a solid drop point shape blade, useful for everything.
Mm.
And it does have mixed finishing on it. So at the top, it starts as a stonewash, or not stonewash. I think blasted,
Yeah,
and then there's some satinization once the bevel starts. So very handsome.
really good looking knife for sure.
Yeah,
Like I
eighty
took
six
one look at it and I'm
dollars.
like, send that over. We're gonna. I think we're gonna like it. Yeah, and
Yep,
like
anodizer.
really important
Yeah.
for us. Well, really important for me. I'm the lefty of the group, so it's important
Mm.
for me to be to have like to experience truly ambidextrous knives, not just like you could say like compression stuff is lefty friendly, but not truly actually lefty. So
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
So this one is on. We'll have links to this in the show notes as
Yeah.
well. So it also comes in black, so
Mm,
that's cool. Black micarta, black anodized, and black finish on the blade. So
yeah.
cool. I think so. This next one is the Fenix PD32R rechargeable
Mm,
flashlight. I will let you lead this one because I
yeah.
didn't get a sample of this, so I don't know much to say.
Yeah, when I brought it up to you, you're like, isn't that like an old Phoenix model? But
Yeah.
it just like Nitecore, the one I was showing earlier. This is Phoenix
Hmm.
going back to like true form. There was this whole period from like 2022 to 2023 where everybody was making 21 700 lights, which was the next step up from 18650.
86, 21,700.
And it's just, I mean,
It's
the
huge.
trade-off is you get a lot more mAh and I think slightly higher voltage. You start at 5000
Oh,
mAh for that. But it just, all of those lights became like huge chunkers. They were over 1.5 inches in pocket for the heads, and it's
yeah.
just like so inconvenient. And it's nice now that companies are going back, like Phoenix, like Nitecore, they're going back to the old form factor that uses 18650s and
Yeah.
much simpler interfaces. We're back to doing it right, doing it solid. And this is now we're back to Phoenix, where it's like, can you recommend me something that's like powerful, handheld, that I don't have to fuss so much about? This is the Phoenix I'm going to say
Yes.
every single time. It's a simple mechanical tail switch, 5 modes, I believe, 18650 standard battery,
Mm.
onboard USB-C charging. It's got a new knurling design that brings it up to like a 2024 design. It's a bit more futuristic looking instead of like
Mm.
standard knurling stuff. So I'm really liking everybody going back to 18650s, just keeping it
Yeah.
simple, nice 1.5 or 1 inch head pocket, easy for EDC. Yeah, I love it. And standard batteries, non-proprietary stuff, very simple interfaces with nice tail switches. Yeah, everything I like from a 18650 flashlight. And I'm glad that Phoenix is back to it
Hmm.
and just bringing in just the right amount of modernization with a USB-C port, and that's all we really need. Got a nice,
Yeah.
powerful flashlight.
I have the just like this infographic of the updates and upgrades,
Mhm.
and I'm like PD32. This is the one I was thinking of
Yeah,
from
yeah,
2016.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, 900 lumens and no internal. So is this battery like built in? No, right? It's replaceable.
Yeah, because you can use two CR123s with it. Yeah,
Yes. Okay. Okay.
yeah. So dual fuel too. Excellent,
Right.
excellent.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the 123. Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
again 18650 is the perfect handheld light. It's like it's directly the step up from a 2 by AA or a 2 by AAA, which is an
Hmm.
pen inspection light, and it's just like just beefy enough to be substantial. It can have the um, longevity with a battery for the 18650. It has the voltage for like at least um, 1200 lumens at least, which is more than enough. And yeah, onboard charging, pretty simple. Yeah,
Yeah.
Phoenix back to
Nice.
form, I think. And no more like two switches. I'm kind of 50-50 on the two switches. I just like a simple tail switch. Honestly, a simple proud tail
Yeah.
switch. That's what
Yep.
I like for a flashlight.
Yeah, this to me looks more like the flashlights I grew up with, but
Yeah.
more modern. Yeah,
Yeah.
um, not. I mean, I like both, but I think this looks like a compelling option for people who kind
Yeah.
of
If
want
somebody
something a little
says
bit more simple and reliable.
if
Yeah.
somebody says I need 1,000 lumens at least flashlight that's super simple, something that I can use like really reliable. Yep. Phoenix,
Yeah.
easy PD32R.
Nice. So
Yeah.
this is MSRP 106, and then probably
Street
street price
price.
$80.
Yeah. Pretty
Cool.
great. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next release. So this is the Vosteed mini Psyop.
Mm.
I have the full size Psyop. This is a mini Psyop with a
Mm.
crossbar lock.
Yes.
Yes.
I got the psyops too, and then yeah, it's a top liner lock, but it's not truly ambidextrous. And I
Right.
mean, just like those little optimizations, right? It's also, I like the smaller size as well for this one, and it's not just metal handles. It now comes with micarta and also carbon fiber, so you now
Hmm.
have lighter options. So how are you finding the original psyop though?
It's okay. So here's the original Psyop. It is like quite a chonker,
Mm,
despite it being titanium. I think it's just like too big of a knife for me. It's
yeah.
like not focusing. There we go. But it is beautiful. But like I was liking the Vosteed Tala more. It's just like lighter. And I don't know that this has a lot going for it, but I think it's just too much knife for me.
Yeah, I am
Um,
finding like in general for EDC, I'm gravitating now towards smaller and lighter. Like I'm
mhm.
as much as I like the overbuilt me type tactical heavy ass stuff, I'm now like
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm probably getting older. I just like the lighter stuff, something easier to carry but still like super dialed in, super optimized. and then I
Yeah.
can look for like premium things like a better steel or titanium handles or something. But yeah,
Yeah. Still like I think I don't know. This is not like the in-house designs of Vosteed, I would say, because
yeah,
that like Yue at Vosteed designs a lot of the ones that I like. This is actually a Tough Knives
yeah. Same as
design.
the
So
original Psyop.
yeah. So you can see here, but the it's just this for me. This configuration of thumb stud and crossbar lock, it just feels so different. Even though, like, I guess the handle and blade shape profile of the original Psyop are like kind of the same,
Mm-hmm.
it just feels so different to not have the pill shaped hole and the rear compress or not the compression lock, the top liner
Top
lock.
liner. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like a different knife. It,
Yeah.
this makes it read so much more, yeah, so much more bug out to me.
Yeah,
But
especially that choice of that blue thumb stud with the carbon fiber.
yeah,
That is
does the red one
almost,
have the black and red? Okay, if this was like black and red, I
and
would
then
be like,
aluminum. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So
yeah. So
let's see.
another interesting thing. So this is the one I asked them to send to you because it has rose gold hardware, and I thought that was just like that combination with the micarta. It's just looks really really like
Hmm,
looks
interesting.
it looks like an iPhone choice of color scheme.
Yeah,
Like the rose gold with a satin
did they call
finish
it
or
rose gold, or do
I
you just call it rose gold?
I'm pretty sure it's rose gold.
They
But
call it
another
Oliver. That's cute. It's actually Olive.
no, the bicarta is olive. And speaking of
Yeah, but it's just the website says Oliver, which I think is
oh
cute. But yes, tell us about what is Norplex Ultrex.
yeah, so I was looking into it because I didn't know what it was also, and then it turns
Mm-hmm.
out that Norplex Ultrex is also made in the same process as the original micarta, which is actually a brand name, but it's
Yes,
fully
yes.
made in the USA. This material is fully made in the USA. So if you
Do
want
you know offhand what the generic term for micarta is? Isn't it's like
bur-
lit like
linen or
linen
burlap,
and resin or something?
yeah, linen in resin or like burlap denim type. It's like an organic fabric that's impregnated with resin, which gives it like
Linen
a
reinforced phenolic laminate.
laminate. There, here, that's the term I was
Yeah,
looking
something
for.
like yeah.
Yeah, so you're
Okay.
using heat to melt
Right.
an inorganic material with natural fibers. So
With
you get the
organic
best
fiber,
of
yes.
both worlds of durability. Plus, it feels like a natural material in hand. So yeah,
Yeah.
so Norplex Ultrex is part of the same micarta process. I
Mm.
believe micarta is made by Westinghouse originally. They take that same
Mm.
process, but it's fully made in the USA, and it's now under the Norplex Ultrex brand. So yeah.
Yes. Interesting.
Yeah, so it's like I like that combination of like the rose gold hardware plus the olive micarta and this and like the kind of stonewash or bead blasted finish. It just gives it like it's a nice combination of colors and aesthetic. This particular one, it's such a
Yeah.
standout compared to the other three.
I just want to check what the full size Psyop costs.
Ooh, that's a pricey boy, and it's sold out.
Okay, it's like double the price. Okay.
Yeah. Plus,
Interesting.
it's still Elmex, which is up there
Yeah,
also.
yeah, yeah. Like I was looking, it's like $130, but you have, this new micarta material and you have LMAX steel. It's just smaller and the lock
More
mechanism
EDCable.
is different, but like 129 I think is competitive.
Hmm.
It's just a little bit smaller than most of the other, crossbar locks in like the 125 to 175 range, I
Yeah,
guess.
we'll probably
At
have a
least
better
the ones that come
verdict
to mind.
once we have it in hand. But maybe even with a three-finger grip, it might be like the ergos are just much better for the size.
Yeah, and the blade looks like fairly big. Well, okay. Well, anyway,
Yeah.
interesting release from Vosteed as always. Just something smaller, premium materials. Not like their most budget, but looks like to be a
But
good value at
129, I
least.
think, is a really, really compelling price.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a value.
Especially,
It's
yeah,
value, but not budget. That's
yeah.
what I was trying to say.
It's
Sure.
like mid-tier, but then like it's a lot to like, and hopefully like
Yeah.
a lot of Vosteed stuff. It's very fidgetable as well when it arrives. Plus, fully ambidextrous,
Hmm.
so always appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
maybe we're starting to see. I don't know if this is Mikey bias or just like the way the market is going, but it's like there's a lot of stuff that's lefty friendly. I think we should stop doing that so that Mikey can slow his roll a little bit.
I know, I know.
Uh, all right, so we got some new bags from Chrome.
One of the heritage
So
bag
we got
makers.
so we got the Sodo Sling, and then I'm also going to show us the Sabin Sling in a second. But these are 3-liter recycled nylon slings, I believe.
So it's the era of
Yes.
slings, as you may have seen from our. If you haven't
Hmm.
checked it out, check out our sling episode. But the new meta I'm noticing for this year in particular is everybody's coming back to nylon. Nylon used to be
Hmm.
that thing where it's one of those very flimsy, outdoorsy type bags,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
somehow it's come back around in 2024. And now everybody's making these very lightweight, very packable um, bags, backpacks. Gorak's making a huge chunk of them. That's their most popular line right now. And then I came
Hmm.
across new stuff from Chrome Industries, and they're like really, really modern looking slings now in ripstop. And like ripstop isn't anything to sneeze at in the right form factor. And I think sling is a
Yeah.
perfect use for it because it's lightweight. It's like the name suggests, ripstop is means that it's very, very durable. It may not be as abrasion resistant as Cordura. I believe Cordura is still ballistic
Yeah.
nylon is still best in class for abrasion resistance, but for pure
You're wearing it
durability,
as a sling.
yeah,
Like you're not dragging it around or
yeah.
throwing it around and stuff.
Yeah. So for a sling purpose, let's gonna hold up like pure durability and like the and waterproofing as well because of how of ripstop as a fabric. There's no pores for water to go through. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think it's a really, and this is just two parts of a full collection, the district collection, I believe. And you got a
Yes.
choice of backpacks. You got these two slings at like very, very competitive prices. And I really, really like the designs of these in particular. Yeah.
Hmm. Does it have a zipper on the top? Oh, okay. So there's a security zipper in the back, and then I believe the main access zipper is under this
The
storm
leather
flap
flap.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got the quick adjust strap as well.
Yeah, yeah, where you just like oh, that I like these. I had
Hmm.
one of those on
Yeah.
back I did. And it comes in a bunch of colors. Cool. So that I like
Ooh,
this.
nice teal hit.
This blue. What the? Okay.
Nice.
So that's the Sodo sling, and then Sabin sling, just a kind of a different
This
look
looks
to
more
it.
like a traditional fanny pack.
This looks more a little bit sportier too. Yeah.
And you got
And you
the
have the
big
top
buckle.
access zipper.
And you got the
Ah,
big buckle
sure,
for
sure.
waist carry easy.
I like the other one. I like the other one more, I think.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't
Well,
know. It's hard to say.
look good on her.
This one is more minimal,
Yeah.
but I don't think I like the way that the strap connects. Like there's like a lack of wings, whereas this one
Oh,
has
yeah,
the
yeah.
wings, and
Gotcha.
those are usually more comfortable and just like looks more
It's
cohesive.
it's
But
also pretty interesting from like Chrome as a heritage brand, right? Like Chrome is known for that seatbelt buckle thing,
oh yeah,
the
yeah, the huge
monstrosity
yeah,
that they have on the buckle, and it's usually mega overbuilt seatbelt webbing. Plus, that's actual
yeah,
seatbelt clasp, the
the
what do you call it?
buckle.
The buckle on it. And now they've made something super minimal, completely on meta for 2024, lightweight, and I like it. I like this like new direction. They had these, you just scrolled past it, but they had these
Yeah, the
mini
cadet.
cadet. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
this is
they
what
had
I
that
remember them for.
they had that white X Pack one that started making waves when X Pack was coming out. So
Yeah,
yeah, so that was really, really cool as well.
yeah, but they are, I believe, they made like messenger bags, like bigger
Yeah,
messenger bags. Yeah,
they're in the
for bikes, and
same
like
generation
Timbuktu,
as like Timbuktu, Manhattan
Manhattan
Portage.
Portage.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
all of the
All
heritage
right.
NYC. Yeah,
So let's have you geek out about this new flashlight even more.
ah, so everything I said earlier about the Phoenix, but without the onboard charging, and
Hmm.
for $20 less. So this is $60 SRP. And yeah, what more can I say?
Nice.
It's an very simple 18650 flashlight. It tail stands, simple two mode system, no fancy anything UI. It uses their new LED, which is the UHI
Uh-huh.
LED. It's something new they've developed. It's only in cool white though, which is probably the main drawback. That's going to be for most flashlight enthusiasts. It only
Yeah.
comes in cool white, but it's generally on the whiter side of cool white that I've seen. It's not greenish or purplish or anything like
Yeah.
that. So it's
But I mean, this is
yeah,
like this is a pro tactical light, right?
yeah,
Like you don't need like high CRI,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
for that
So
purpose.
very, I just appreciate something that does its main function exceptionally well with no fuss at
Yeah.
not a huge price investment. Plus, I think it looks pretty cool.
I think it looks good. Like
Yeah.
as far as tactical lights go,
Yeah.
it used to be like the Mall Ninja meme, right? Where it's like
Mhm.
crenellated bezel and like all this stuff just
Yeah.
like looks so aggressive. But like
Yeah.
this is probably, I mean, first of all, let me make the disclaimer that I'm not like seeking tactical applications of things.
Mm.
I'm like the furthest from that. So don't get the wrong idea. But like
Yeah.
I feel like if you are in those types of situations, you don't need all that other stuff, and you just
True.
want like quick controlled access to your light simply and reliably. So,
Yeah.
um,
And plus
yeah.
standard battery, like I said, like I was saying the praises of 18650 as a platform standard. You probably if you've been in flashlights as long as we have, you probably have a bunch of 18650s lying around already.
Hmm.
So very inexpensive battery, large runtime, good voltage to give you decent output. This is like what was the output for it?
Hmm.
I believe it's 1800. Yeah, it's 1800 lumens. Yeah, two modes, everything you need from an everyday flashlight, hard anodized aluminum, $60. I mean, it's great. I mean,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll take your word for it. Sounds
yeah,
like a good light. Mikey approved.
yeah.
All right. Last but not least, we got the new Casio G-Shock GDB 500. This
Ooh-hoo-hoo.
is, I guess, a fitness watch
Yeah,
from the brand, right? Because it does have a step counter.
yeah.
But I think that the biggest like headline of this is that it's the thinnest G-Shock you can buy right now,
It's a
11 meters thick.
it's the thinnest G Shock. It's the most affordable as well in the G Move line, which is the one that
Oh,
has
yes.
the step counter. It's what it's 120 for the upper ones and 130 for the transparent one and the
Oh
black
my
one.
gosh, sorry.
Wow.
Getting bombarded by. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got this
So I right
nice.
away gravitated to this colorway, by the way.
Mhm.
This like gray, orange, reflective positive display with clear and link transition thing.
This is
Super
giving me
cool.
mega mecha vibes for some reason. The orange
Mecha?
and the gray.
Yeah.
Yeah, the orange and the
Yeah,
gray.
dude. So I kind of want this. It's $130, but and
Yeah.
like I have a I have the Hello Kitty baby G that I wear at the gym because it's like I don't want to wear the my big like gold tone steel G-Shock, which
Yeah, yeah.
I end up doing it sometimes.
Or that one you're
Yeah,
wearing now.
or this one,
Yeah.
like I'm banging my wrists and stuff on climbing holds and
Yeah.
whatever. But this one looks really compelling,
Yeah.
mainly because it's smaller. So it says 46 millimeter in diameter, but I think they're doing it from like 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock. But
Yeah.
like side to side,
It looks like
it's
it looks
less.
like
It's
a
like 39.
vertical monitor instead of a
Yeah,
widescreen one.
yeah. It looks like the G square, right? But just
Mm.
war or like
Yeah,
rotated.
rotated 90
uh,
degrees. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah. And it comes in like a bunch of different
Ah,
colors.
that's
So
my color. That's like
yeah,
eye searing volt. I love it.
yeah, yeah.
And let's not
Um,
discount the 11 millimeters. That may not, that sounds like substantial, but 11 millimeters is very, very
no,
thin.
11 millimeters for a G
Yeah.
shot. Yeah, that's
That's like
great.
Swatch territory already.
Yeah, this looks more like you, to be
Yeah.
the all black with the negative display. But
True, true. Yeah.
if
I
you
mean, I'm
want
flipping a coin.
this,
I'm flip
yeah, 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 yeah.
and this the positive green also for the display. Ah, that's
Mm-hmm.
pretty neat. Yeah. I
Yeah.
got my color excesses in from time to time.
Cool. So I think that wraps it up for this week's batch of like news releases. Let's look at some questions in the EDC community, and these
Yes.
are honestly these are kind of just taken from Reddit, so the main everyday carry sub, I guess EDC, and then also one from our everydaycarry.com subreddit. That's r/everydaycarry.
Mhm.
So let's take a look at those. So the question is, anyone else use their EDC for food? And I don't know if you guys use Reddit, but this was just like a plague of that sub, to the point that people were posting other variations of this. Like, does anyone else, I don't know, use their food for EDC? And like, I think, there's like a glizzy knife or something, like that kind of stuff. It got really out of hand. People were just jumping on the little meme
I,
train here.
I like how
This
the
actually got locked, by the way,
I like how
because
the flair for it is try hard.
yeah, yeah. And if you look at like what they're doing, they're just slicing a fruit gummy. Um, yeah, I don't know. So it did spark like this whole meme train of all that. That's not really what I'm interested in, because I think the actual question is worth discussing, right?
Yeah,
Just like EDC knives for food prep.
yeah.
Um, and I'm curious, like you don't know anything about it, so I'm curious. Like, do you do that?
I have tried it once or twice where I was eating a particularly tough piece of meat. This is probably the common story for a lot of people with their EDC.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were eating, I believe it was ribs no, not ribs. It was some sort of meat, but it was cooked. Oh, it was overcooked, so it was really really tough.
Okay.
And all we had on hand were like butter knives or like plastic
Yeah, the
disposable knives.
plastic. Yeah.
Yeah, so I gave it a shot. I was really really careful because we had ceramic plates, and I didn't want to dull the edge of the blade and all of that. And
Mm.
I was really really careful about it also because I didn't want to get like the food juices in the pivot and everything. So I was
Yeah.
like really really carefully just cutting a groove into the meat. But I have thought about it over the years. My wife cuts more food with knives than I will ever will because she likes fresh fruit, so she
Small.
cuts it too.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so I have been looking to get into like EDC tier fixed blade knives that I can leave around the kitchen so she can also try test driving them and just like leave her layperson comments of like, hey, this knife is kind of cool for
Interesting.
yeah, for food prep, for like cutting up vegetables and cutting up for when we're cooking and stuff like that. So I haven't actually figured out the setup yet. I have a couple of fixed blade knives on the way that are good size for
Mm-hmm.
ergonomic chopping and stuff. But yeah, I am actually wanting to try and use it for food actually.
Mm. I don't think I've ever used my EDC knife in the wild, not in the wild, but just like outside of my home
Hmm.
for this purpose. Actually, I probably have used it in the actual wild, like when I'm on a climbing trip and like we're
All right,
hiking or
right.
something,
Yeah,
to like cut a apple or just like slice a peanut butter sandwich or something.
yeah, yeah.
Like just put that together. That makes sense. But like in a restaurant with people around and like I don't
Mm,
know. I don't know.
nah,
I'm kind
nah.
of I don't feel like doing that probably.
Yeah. Let me just flick out my giant tank of a knife and cut the
Yeah,
steak.
like I do
There we
use, yeah,
go.
I do use my knife for for like peeling apples or whatever.
Yeah.
And the last time I actually used the Vosteed Tolaruris, which is not, it's not like like a chef knife kind of slicing geometry, because it has the
Yeah.
harpoon.
Yeah.
It's like a modified Warncliffe harpoon kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I whatever. I was using that to like just prep dinner once, but my dinner is very simple. I think I just use it to cut like bell peppers and onions
I'm
and like
honestly
sausage and
just
stuff like that.
terrified of like getting rust or like like I said, like the juices into the
Yeah,
pivot and stuff. And I want to be hassled with cleaning it and having it
right.
smell like food after the fact. If it's not a knife specifically for that I use for food prep, like if I had an open that I'd carry for me for picnics or whatever, then sure.
Sure.
But then
Yeah.
I wouldn't use like
Your
this.
yeah, your beater EDC, yeah,
Yeah,
it kind of doesn't make sense.
I would
And
have
for
a
me,
yeah.
like I was fine with it because like I'm already in the kitchen. So I wash it first and then I use it and then I wash it again and then I dry it and I make sure that's like not gonna rust or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
So
fair.
um anyway,
Yeah,
I think I, I feel like we have pretty reasonable takes. I'm sure there's some
yeah.
people out there is like, no, I use it for every meal and like I need to slice my burrito in half. Um I don't know, just open wider, bro.
Bro, don't you catch your own game and like catch your own
Yeah.
fish and cut it up with
Use
your
your teeth, bro.
yeah.
No, but I just thought that this was like just a funny kind of meme disguised as a
Yeah,
actual question discussion.
yeah.
But you know, make it
But
work.
just to point something out, this is an extremely well used knife to the point that it's
Well,
reprofiled to the point of like some nub of a blade left.
dog,
Yeah,
the old
the
timer.
old
Yeah,
timer.
yeah.
That's
That's a great try hard EDC. Next question is more of a Mikey question. Any movies or shows that sparked your love for EDC?
yeah.
Um,
I brought it
so a
up at
lot
the
of people, yeah, a lot of people are talking about Batman, James Bond,
yeah.
John Wick,
No MacGyver,
MacGyver.
really?
No, MacGyver's at the end. It's a
Oh, there
popular
you. All right,
comment.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah,
So
this literally is the question. In the top of the show, I mentioned it. I probably told the story already. This is the Jason Bourne tag link chronograph from
mm-hmm,
2000, which they used
mm-hmm.
in the 2001 Bourne Identity movie, and that just like
Sick.
defined a whole generation of EDC and like spy thrillers that I really really like. But the actual real answer to my question is Kick Ass from
Right.
2013.
I remember this. Yeah.
Yeah, so they featured two very specific things in that movie. The Benchmade 42 Bella song, which was given to Hit Girl, one of the characters, by her father. They're professional assassins or they're vigilantes, and she's like an arsenal of weapons and all of that.
Right.
And
Right.
her favorite, she asked for her dad for her birthday. She wanted the Bella song, so that got me started in that whole train. And then at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the movie, she uses a very very particular strobe flashlight, which actually me trying to find what that strobe flashlight was led me to your blog and me
Right.
DMing you asking you, does this thing actually exist or is this actually movie magic? It was movie magic,
Yeah.
but yeah, that
Yeah. I
literally was the
probably
start of
did
it for
say it existed and just like spread misinformation. No, I'm just kidding.
me.
Yeah.
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 Do you
That's a
have
long
any
time ago.
do you have any stories for movies or
So
shows?
No, but like you're talking about like my original Tumblr blog and whatever, and I feel like I used to take screen caps of EDC stuff being used in movies. It's just
Mhm.
I cannot find it on the internet anymore. But I'm pretty sure like I had
It was
just
this long ago.
stills. It was quite long ago, and I had
Yeah.
stills of like a Swiss Army knife being used. And like maybe there would be just like in passing somebody's walking by their like in the hallway, just like where they dump what's it called, like a foyer or something, where they just like dump all
Yeah,
their
yeah.
stuff on like phone wallet keys and like can't remember, but there were like instances of that and flashlights as well. I honestly back when was that 2012 or something.
Mm,
I would watch a lot of like Hong Kong gangster cinema. So there's
nice.
a lot of like
Infernal
cool
Affairs.
watches and cool watches and like flashlights from like the police and stuff. So
Mhm.
but no, I don't think any of that really sparked my love for EDC. It was just like once I had already been into EDC, I started to notice them in movies more.
Do you have any? So it does nothing for you, like from a modern perspective. If you see like a television show now, nothing has like
Hmm.
piqued your interest in them, like or mostly watches probably for you now, huh?
Yeah. Oh, well, I don't even know.
So you don't have it. You don't have like a James Bond Omega moment with a watch, or
I don't think so. I don't think I connect with movie characters in that way,
right.
you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
that is like that is American movies, American culture has like shaped my entire childhood. That goes for
Ah.
like I wanted to be a hockey player because of the Mighty Ducks in the tropics. So think about
Okay,
that
sure. I
process.
mean, I
Yeah.
also like got into rollerblading and street hockey because of Mighty Ducks.
Yeah.
So that's
So yeah.
fine.
Yeah, I got into computers because of hackers. I got into EDC because of like Born Identity and all of that. So I'm very, very extremely
Mm,
influenceable.
I
I'm very
see.
impressionable as a
Yeah, maybe
gear and
I'm the opposite, and I'm trying to be the influencer.
yeah, true.
But I mean, look how that's going, right? We're here now on a podcast.
Yeah,
Yikes! All right, next question then. This
sure.
one is from our actual official subreddit. So if you guys want to chill with us, we're there at r/everydaycarry. How do you
Mm.
guys store your EDC when they're not in use?
Oh,
So it's not about like actually carrying, but more
yeah.
about like how do we find a home for these things?
Well, easy answer for me. I have a custom watch roll for my watches. I have a Holman Hadfield that I'm looking off on a shelf off
Hmm.
screen. I'll have a picture of it on screen. You got one of the chonkers version of that, right? The armory.
Yeah, dude. Like there's a room behind me that I will not show. but it is just like filled with knives all over the place.
Mm,
I think I've used every slot in the drawer and in like the pedestal of those like Holman Hatfield display cases
yeah,
because I just have too many knives.
yeah.
I actually don't have a great like aspirational cool answer to this other
Yeah.
than my watch box. But I'm a little shy to show my watch collection yet just now.
I will I
But
will
yeah,
deflect
I
it to
did get a sick
something.
box. Yeah.
I will deflect it to something more EDC. I got a case from a company called Guard Dog Cases, and they
Hmm.
make those custom padding for knife storage and for flashlight storage, EDC
Oh,
storage.
interesting.
So they make
Okay.
those custom foam with the built-in cutout slots for the knives.
Ah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
I'll have a picture of it on screen as well. But yeah, it's a really it plays into the whole EDC overbuilt, would you say,
Okay.
fantasy, like the whole concept of something super safe, something super overbuilt, something really
Right.
really exceptionally overdone for the general purpose of just storing knives. But yeah, there's a couple of companies that do it, and they use the Pelican cases. They use these nano
Yeah,
cases
I
from
was I
Canada.
was
Yeah,
gonna say like you like I've seen people they just take a like a standard Pelican case and it's just
yeah.
pick and pluck foam or
Yeah,
whatever, right? So
just that
you
foam
just
is
like
terrible. I've
oh,
tried the
is that
pick and
why? I
pluck,
see, I see.
and it's
Yeah.
not like, it
It
deforms
is
and it,
terrible.
yeah,
Yeah. Like once the weight of the knife is actually in it, like the shape you made, it's like, okay, well
yeah,
that's
that's
wrong
it.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
and then if you have different sized knives, it starts compressing it in a weird. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
terrible. So yeah,
Yeah.
so the alternative is to get one of those custom Pelican cases or the
Mm.
nano
Hmm.
cases. And it's nice because, like, if you're traveling, if you're going to like a blade show, for example, and you're thinking of picking up knives or meeting up with people to discuss knives or whatever,
Sure.
it's a very very safe.
Then you can
You
like
can check
check
it in
it. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you'll be completely safe because it's those super overbuilt Pelican cases. Yeah,
Right.
and if
I've
we
seen some
talked
other
about it,
people.
we talked about
Mhm.
it long ago. So if, like, if there's, God forbid, there's a fire in your house, also, there's another,
It's
your
safe.
your
Yeah.
your your, your precious items are
Yeah.
protected.
Priorities. Got your
Yeah,
priorities straight.
yeah.
I've also seen people use like actual tool, boxes.
Toolboxes, yeah.
Yeah, but then you just kind of like line them so it doesn't scratch up your knives or whatever. And
Classic
yeah.
EDC YouTuber with the, in their background they have that mega tool rolling tool chest
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
in bright red with
Yeah,
all of
that
your
kind of
knives in
stuff.
it.
Yeah, and then there's also just like valet tray options. I
Mhm.
have like just random valet trays here and there, but it's like they're not really organized. It really is just like I just dump my
Dump tray,
stuff
yeah,
in there. Yeah. And then at least for me in my EDC setup, most of my stuff is contained in my bag for the day. So it's really just like what knife am I gonna pick to put in my pocket?
yeah.
Um, and everything else is like I have in my bag. So I yeah, and then I have my watch box for that kind of stuff. So
Sure, sure.
yeah, interesting question though. I like when people think not just like what do I carry, but also how do I carry it, or even how do I take care of it when I'm not actually carrying it. So
Yeah,
that's a cool question.
yeah.
So thank you to the community for this type of discussion. But now we can move on to
Main event.
yes, user submission. So this is a submission from our website. So in case you guys don't know, we did rebuild the website everydaycarry.com, and some of you might have noticed that like the submissions are not where they used to be, and like the form to do it is different. We're working on it. It's going to get better, and we're going to show them in these podcasts and on the website. So like, don't worry, they're coming back. You're
We hear
seeing
you.
them happen right now in real time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, just some information on this carry. This is a um, submission from Instagram user Sling and Stones EDC. So we'll have their handle on there, and they said it's a quick pocket dump check for my everyday carry. And you know, we've when I was picking this one, we're kind of mentioning that like, oh yeah, these are just the classics, and we've mentioned them a bunch before.
Mm.
But like, come on, like we just had the quintessential design episode,
Yeah.
and I think is this 3 out of 4 quintessential items that we decided on the list? I think it is,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, that's a Streamlight, MicroStream,
Yep.
the bug out or crossbar lock of your choice, and G-Shock
Yeah.
Square. There you go.
Yeah.
This is a very me carry.
Yeah. And then this thing, the second item, if you guys don't know, I believe this is a folding comb by Kent. It's a
Nice.
UK brand. Let me double check this. Um, I think it is by Kent. It might be the 20T or something.
I would highly
Yeah, but
recommend
these are
a
handmade.
ballet comb as well. Remember the ballet comb?
Okay. The thing is though, I had both. Back when
Mm,
I had a fuller head of hair, I had both the Kent comb.
mm.
I forget what this is made of. I want to say acetate, but that doesn't sound right.
Acrylic?
Um,
Looks acrylic.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
some that like they use
Kent.
for eyeglasses.
No, acetate. Well, what is this made of? What are Yeah, you're right. Sorry, cellulose acetate.
Okay.
But their hand sod son. I've never used that word before.
Sawed?
No, but yeah, it's like the
Handcrafted.
past participle. Yeah, I don't know. Yes, but it's done by hand, and they're sawed out of acetate, right?
Mm,
And acetate on your head, like, is just more comfortable, right?
right.
Than actually combing with steel, like
Right.
Filipino steel.
Right,
So
right.
I had both, and like, yeah, it just felt better to use this one. It's lighter. It isn't as like flickable or fidgety,
Mm,
honestly. And I think this was also easier to carry because it does have a
yeah.
clip. My
Interesting that
my
yeah,
Valley
pocket
comb
clip
did not
is
have a clip.
pocket
Yeah,
clip is cool for
yeah,
this
yeah.
for this specific application. I didn't realize like yeah,
Hmm.
clippable pocket cone. That's pretty cool, and folding too.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the other one is just like you have a small comb, and then I don't know how people do that.
Yeah,
I don't know how people carry that just loose. Like you're gonna break the teeth of the comb. So folding into liners, they're not liners. Like a handle makes sense.
yeah,
So
the handle. Yeah,
yeah, and then I feel like these other items need no introduction. Like if you guys are into EDC at all, you know that these are classics.
or you can watch our
So
quintessential episode where we
yeah,
talk for an
yeah.
hour about these three items in particular.
Yeah, and why they're here in
Yeah,
a random pocket dump like this one, right? So thank you to Sling and Stones EDC for that one. That's a cool submission. And let's move on to this one.
this was one of your picks. Very interesting.
This was one of my picks. Maybe two zoomed in a little bit. So let's get the full scope of this.
Yeah.
And I believe they did have a description. So zoom in a little bit while I read what they had to say.
This has 4 of the quintessential items you talked
Okay.
about.
Okay. So this is from Jarrett. Jarrett's on our Facebook group, and he said, "This is the EDC of a generator technician. Always outside and always seeing new machines. Usually they need it fixed right away. Field notes help me keep track of different tests and adjustments, and also combining the Klein flip sockets, Milwaukee 6-in-1, and Knipex 5-inch Cobra, I have an unstoppable toolbox in my pocket." And
Nice.
another comment they added, the Klein flip sockets are amazing, very compact nut runner set, and can combine with other common EDC tools like the Leatherman and Gerber arm bar.
I just love the term nut runner.
Okay, say
But
more.
I just want to give props to a guy who was actually probably using this Knipex for day-to-day work.
Yeah.
Not often you see
I
that
think
in the yeah.
okay. Also, when I picked this, I didn't even notice that it had like the blacked
The
out
bug out.
bug out, the Leatherman Wave Plus, and the Streamlight, and the Bic. Actually, I didn't
Nice.
realize that it had all of those things. I wanted to draw attention to the Milwaukee Fastback because I just did a video on the Civivi Elementum utility,
Yeah.
and I just had, I don't know. I feel like I made a video about this saying that like you shouldn't use your knife to cut cardboard,
Mhm.
or your EDC knife to cut cardboard. You should use it
Utility
a
blade.
utility knife.
Yeah.
And the reason I said that was because the first time I said I tested my EDC knife, by cutting cardboard at like the food bank or whatever. I got comments saying you're dumb and you should never do that. I was like, okay, fine. And then now I made this video, and people are like, you're dumb and you should just use your EDC knife
Oh my
because
god.
that's what you bought
You
it
can't
for. So I'm
win.
like, okay, I cannot win.
You can't
Frick me, I
win.
guess. But then the other comment, which I think is a more valuable comment, is that a lot of people are saying like you could just get a Milwaukee Fastback.
Mm,
Which I think is interesting. And we talked about the fastback and recommended it before in another Q&A,
yep.
just because it is so accessible. Like you can swap the tools easier. It has the bit driver in the back, high vis, just like ergonomic or whatever, and it's very affordable, right? I think it's like
Under
around $20.
yeah, $18 or something.
Whereas, yeah, whereas this one is double or triple that, I think.
Mm,
And it also requires a number 8 Torx to replace the blade. The difference, I think, the main functional difference being that the deployment is different, but also this exposes the entire blade, cutting edge of the blade.
yeah.
Whereas things like the Milwaukee Fastback is just like the edge
Yeah.
or
For safety reasons,
the
of
tip
course.
rather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but it just got me thinking that like people comparing the fastback to something like an Elementum utility, I feel like are just not the same people, and it's like that's not the conversation to be
You just
to be
pissed off two
having.
different groups at the same time in different
Yeah, I
ways.
think that's what I did. So I don't
Yeah.
know, but I mean, it's like I do have appreciation for the fastback.
Yeah.
Like it's very obviously it's like up to the task. It's just I think it's just like for different
I have also
audiences.
seen Milwaukee models that don't look like the standard box cutter like this. They have like
Mhm.
sleeker models. I know there's one that with like a hot reload for the utility blades as well. I know
Mm.
there's some really really cool versions of the Milwaukee, like blacked out ones. So
Yeah, I think
there is
I'm
some
just
stuff to explore there. I think.
yeah, I'm gonna go to like Lowe's or something and just like buy a whole bunch and just like
Yeah,
come
true,
back here
true.
and make a video.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other thing I liked about this is the mods on
Mm. I
the
was just about
thumb
to point that
holes.
out.
I
Yeah.
guess yeah, it looks like they're 3D printed or something.
Yeah, it makes it easier
Just
to
yeah,
not
uh,
completely grind your thumb off, or if you're wearing gloves, probably
yeah,
makes it easier as
exactly.
well.
I was predicting it's probably like gloved use is having the actual 3D thumb stud would be more helpful.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And four out of
but
the well, 5 out of 5 quintessential items.
yeah, so pretty
Interestingly,
cool.
he's wearing a smartwatch as well.
Mm.
I don't know, I would have figured like a G Shock would fit this ensemble, but yeah,
They can't be too quintessential, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I think you probably saw that video and we're just like,
yeah,
can't be having all of it. But
yeah,
that's I think a sick EDC from Jarrett. So thank
yeah.
you to Jarrett R on Facebook for sending that over.
Good luck with the nut
Submitted.
running.
Yeah, where do you carry all of these Klein things? By the way,
Probably in the
the
Viperade.
zip pouch
There's
is this a zipper on the other side? I don't
I
know.
feel like that's one of the ones with a zipper in the back or on
Okay.
the side. Yeah, could be.
Cool. Let's look at our next submission, also from everydaycarry.com, just submitted through the forum. And
Hmm.
we'll put that forum in the show notes as well, so you can
Yeah.
join in on the fun. But this is someone from New York. So they have their name as EDC and NYC.com. And they said, I'm a New Yorker who is prepared for the unexpected. And they said,
Nice.
this is my light EDC. I'm just trying to go as light as possible here. The Fisher Space Pen, the Victorinox Cadet, and the Mech Army flashlight all fit into my Bellroy card wallet for a one pocket carry. My watch is the Casio A700W 1ACF. This week's read is War Against All Puerto Ricans on my Kindle.
Speaking of zip
So
wallets, here we go. Here's a good
yeah.
argument for it because it's not being able to fit a bunch of smaller items and still like consolidate it in one.
Mhm.
So kind of like the whole EDC pouch thing, but without the slots for bulkier stuff. So yeah,
Right.
plus one
And
there.
these don't really need it, right? They're like super compact anyway.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they're clearly well loved and well used in there. I wonder I was gonna say, when I was living in New York, I didn't like zip wallets that much because I needed to get my Metro card. But
Mm,
now they just have like tap to
right,
enter
right.
the turnstile and stuff, so not really an issue. I also have this. this A700W.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, where didn't you have a whole phase of like the vintage metal Casios?
It's not, well, I mean, this one isn't even really that vintage, but I basically liked it for the bracelet design,
Mm.
because it's a steel bracelet. I yoinked it off of this one and put it onto an actual steel Casio like body. That was like a European only thing. It was like this whole involved
Mm.
process to mod like
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
like the like Cartier Santos cope that I wanted.
Mhm.
But it ended up being very cool. And then I just also appreciate e-readers and EDCs. I
Yeah.
think I want to explore more EDCs that I don't know, just like feature these kinds of devices that are not there. It's like tech, but it's like just a very single purpose intentional tech. I think that's really cool, similar to like how EDCers like to have single purpose like physical tools, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's very interesting.
And it's
And
also
this makes, yeah.
it's also I love I've have had a newfound love for reading as well. I've kind of
Mm,
gone backwards. I've gone from having a Kindle and then I moved back to my phone just because it's so convenient. And what I do now is like if I'm in the elevator, I just knock a few pages off, or I feel like
yeah.
instead of when I get the feeling that I want to open like one of my social media apps, I just no open up the Kindle app and just force myself to get a few pages through. And I have read more in the past few months than I have like the past 10 years,
Yeah. Yeah.
just from
Same.
that,
Same.
just building that habit of instead of something completely pointless and doom scrolling and all of that, just knock a few
Hmm.
pages off. I mean, you
Yeah.
learn something, keep up the craft of reading and keeping your editor brain on and all of that. So, and
True.
yeah,
True.
yeah,
That's important for our job,
yeah,
I guess. So I do read every day, but I do it on a slightly more EDCable
yeah,
version
yeah.
of this. Yeah, I have the books Palma. So I don't know, super into e-readers. And I think this is a nice example of just like stylish minimalist thing that makes sense for the goal of trying to go as light as possible, and it makes sense where they live, right? In New York City, like you can't have like crazy knives and stuff there.
I also
So
want to
it's
point
pretty
out that
cool.
this is a really, really nice setup. Plus, it's very, very inexpensive as well. Like this
Mm,
Casio
mhm,
is
mhm.
extremely inexpensive. Mech Army and classic Victorinox Cadet, very all of these are very inexpensive stuff, but it
Yeah,
looks really slick altogether. Like it's all
yeah.
silver.
I
Yeah,
feel like either the e-reader or the Bellroy wallet is
it's
probably
gonna
the
be more
most
expensive.
expensive,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Sure, sure.
So very cool. Let's jump into a couple from our private Facebook group. This is
Yeah.
the everydaycarry.com inner circle. So this is a submission from Brian Stone. It says great keychain tools and other stuff, all made in the USA. So
Mm.
interesting. So this one's like more about the country of origin. What do you think about that?
There is. I don't know. This gives me the vibe that this person has probably served because those P60 can openers on the bottom
Mm, hmm.
are very, very. These are very, very old military World War II era functional tools. Even that screwdriver coin thing, the
Oh yeah.
yeah, the quad looking thing. Yeah, those are
Hmm.
screwdriver flathead sizes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is giving me the vibe that this person has served before, and this is kind of like a carryover, old tools. Or, I don't know. I'm just assuming, but
Mm, hmm.
pair that with everything else, it's just a lot of. You don't often see like a fully actually made in the USA setup, right? I think this is just
I
missing a
feel like
flashlight.
yeah, it's like hard to this day and age, and it could get expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So zero
I think like
tolerance,
yeah,
Protect, Leatherman, Buck. What's the Cub Scout knife?
it just says
Ah,
Cub
it
Scouts.
just yeah,
Yeah.
probably one of those
Yeah.
traditional issued ones when you're in the Cub Scouts. And that's a pair of
Yeah.
folding scissors. That's I know this pen. I just forget who makes it. Oh, and attached to the driver thing is a pair of tweezers in a holster type thing. It's like you snap it into that the thing with a USA stamp on it on the bottom. Yeah,
Mm.
that's a pair of tweezers as well.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Vintage.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So to
Just
I mean, it's a cool collection. I don't think this is an EDC though, right? This doesn't
right.
make sense as an EDC.
Right. It's a
It's just like a
dump.
collection
Yeah,
share.
it's a
Yes.
pocket
Yeah.
dump
Okay.
of made in the USA stuff that you can just
Yeah. 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 What are your favorite things here then?
I love the ProTech. I've been wanting to get into ProTechs for such a long
Uh
time. It's
huh.
just that they're automatic, which isn't my favorite thing. But I've loved their designs for so long. And this is zero tolerance. I believe that's one of the Sinkovich ones.
Sinkovic. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Sinkovic
think I had this. What is this
seven
one? 0370?
sounds like it.
No, I'm totally wrong. Um,
Might be a 700 something.
or 0350? Dude, I'm so wrong. 0450.
Oh,
That's what it
450.
is.
Okay, yeah, Sinkovic,
Yeah.
Sinkovic. Um,
Yeah.
I like the click pen and these folding scissors. I've had these in my childhood. Those folding scissors on the left.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. It kind of folds in half and then it snaps open to reveal the entire knife, the entire set pair of scissors. Yeah,
Yeah. My favorite though, Leatherman Micra, the
nice. Yeah,
goat. The goat because it has all the tools, but I don't need very tiny pliers. I need very tiny scissors, and
scissors. Yeah.
yeah, this platform I think is so good. So thank you to Brian for sharing your made in the USA gear. I'm curious what people think about country of origin. How important is it? Because like you're saying how we don't see too many of them anymore. It's because it's
Yeah.
so hard, I think, to get like there aren't as
Truly.
many brands like in the I mean like yes, obviously there are EDC brands that are made in the USA, but like it's just more expensive. It's harder to find compared
Yeah.
to all the stuff that's made elsewhere, right?
Yeah.
It's just cheaper in other places, and it's not necessarily. I personally don't think the quality of the finished product is necessarily worse,
Mhm.
because there are some countries where it's like that is their entire industry, and like they've specialized in it, and they're probably better than some uh, at making some things versus like USA factories or whatever. While the USA like catches up in those regards, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want it to make it like political or anything. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
I get
just
you. I get you.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
there are just different places where things are made. For example, like Swiss watchmaking versus you. Okay, let's not even
Yeah.
get into that
That's
anymore.
a
But yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's nice.
Just curious.
I like the sentiment. Like if you are from the US and you're, I don't know, just if you're from Portland, for example, which is one of the homes of Benchmade, there's a lot of like EDC brands from there. I can
Mhm.
see the appeal of like supporting the
Yeah,
hometown.
like repping.
Yeah,
Yeah,
repping
yeah,
the businesses, local businesses, and all that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course. Yeah. Yeah, there's like plenty of benefits to it. I'm just curious how important it is to people.
Mhm.
Like obviously it's important to Bryanstone, and that's cool. And like this collection is a great example of that. So I appreciate the submission there. Let's jump
Just need a
into our final
flashlight.
submission.
You get a Surefire, get a Malkoff, get one of
Sure.
the
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Just complete the set. That's the one
Yeah.
base you're missing, I think. A flashlight.
Yeah. So
Highly
let's hop
recommend
in
Malkoff. Yeah.
here. This
Whoa!
is the from Michelle Vasquez, the zombie carry.
Ugh, I haven't seen
What do we think of
zombie
this?
themed stuff in a long time. Like
Yeah.
2016, I think, was our last article on actual zombie themed with a blood
Zombie
splatter
themed
and
stuff.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I, I, when I first saw this, I was like, number one, really, really cool, even with a pen themed with a zombie cartoon
uh,
at the top,
yeah.
custom lighter as well. And yeah, Michelle makes. If you take a look at Michelle's profile, she's got a lot of cool stuff that she puts themes
Mm,
together. Yeah, and yeah, they don't make zombie gear like this anymore.
yeah.
Honestly, yeah, I haven't seen this in a
But
long
by the
time.
way, yeah, all of this is just like strawberry jam. Okay,
Yeah,
this is not what you think it is. This is actually quite delicious.
this
And
is
when they
like
say
a
eat flesh, they're talking about the flesh of a fruit.
of a
You know?
watermelon. Yeah,
Yeah, sure,
this is a
exactly. Because this
watermelon
is a
theme.
watermelon theme.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and like you're a zombie because like you lose your mind when you're eating watermelon. It's
yeah.
so good.
You're not yourself when
Yeah.
you're hungry. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly. So that's all this is about. YouTube, do not demonetize,
yeah. True, true.
please. XD. So yeah, I'm curious though, like how common is this kind of motif that you can have a concept like Corvid and an Olight baton, and then what is
this
this
is
knife? Do you know?
this is what I'm saying. Like they haven't made this kind of themed
Right.
colorways in a really, really long time. At least not that I've seen.
Hmm.
That doesn't look familiar to me.
Yeah,
That
this
knife,
knife. It
that
looks
pivot
like a
screw doesn't look
yeah
familiar. It's a button
rear
lock too.
flipper with button lock, and then it doesn't have a full thumb hole, but like a
Yeah.
pill shaped recess. That's
It
interesting.
doesn't have the labels or the hallmarks of any of the ones I'm familiar with.
Wait, maybe we could just read the comments, perhaps.
Right.
Oh, it's an O knife. Okay,
Oh,
that makes
okay. There
sense.
we go. All right.
Yeah, so
Thank
O
you.
knife and O light would make. Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
Use my brain for a second.
Yeah.
I am hungry though, so it
Yeah.
took me a little bit. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I like seeing just like fun in
Yeah.
EDC,
I
right?
love seeing themed stuff. It's just like
Yeah,
just lets you get creative with colors and with themes and with like yeah. Even the beads are like fitting the theme. That's what
right.
you look like when you're hungry, right? Or if you haven't eaten in a while.
Yeah,
In a
and
long while.
yeah, and it's like even on if you remove the theme, like if I looked at this in grayscale or something,
Still
right?
works.
Like yeah, it still works, and I think that's cool. So
Yeah.
like I think it makes sense if you've already sort of figured out what kind of functionality you need, how to cover your
Mm,
bases in those ways, what kind of brands you like, and then you just add one final layer of expression, and maybe there's a satisfaction
yeah.
in finding gear that matches or gear that reflects your spirit or your personality or whatever mood you're in, right?
And it
So
keeps
if you're in
the
the flesh eating mood,
yeah.
you got to get the zombie carry.
It keeps the hobby interesting as well, right? Like you're not blindly it's fun to put together a theme of something and then complete it and you're like, this is really cool. I want to share this with other
Hmm.
people. Give them ideas with how to
Yeah,
build something that's more personal to you or something part of your interests. Yeah. I
yeah,
really, really
and
like
clearly it's fire. Like
yeah,
everyone's like, oh, I
obviously.
love this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some are even joining in with their own stuff. So very cool. Super wholesome submission as far as they go from Michelle in our private Facebook group. So
Yeah. Keep them
yeah,
coming.
thank you guys
Really, really
for
cool setup.
submitting
Yeah.
that too. So I think that's it. I think that just
Yeah.
about wraps it up for today's episode and the new format. How did
Really
that
happy
feel? So
about it.
if you, yeah, it's pretty fun. If you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's discussion. And if you did, please subscribe. If you're listening through a podcast service and you really enjoy what we do here, please consider leaving a review and a positive rating, as it would really help the show. You can follow us on social media for more content daily on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and all of that will be linked below. And if you want to be part of our EDC community and share EDCs like this, feel free to hop into our Facebook group or our Discord server or even our subreddit for more real-time discussion with other EDCers. And lastly, if you have any feedback for us or questions you want answered in this segment of the show, you can shoot us an email at podcast@everydaycarry.com. Thank you so much for listening to Carry the Way. I'm Bernard.
I'm Mikey. Let us know what you think of the new format. We really like it.
Yep. And until the next one, peace.